let's jump into it. During the course of today's presentation, we will be covering a brief introduction to the topic, why alignment is necessary at all, the alignment principle, 10 golden rules to improve your relationship with your internal clients, a deep dive into how you can manage internal client expectations, a deep dive in how to manage yourself, and a quick overview of some useful tools that will make all of this a lot easier for you to achieve. The purpose of today's session is to make sure that, like all complex and valuable human skills, we are 100% of the time. We are going to be emphasizing the need to collaborate with our internal clients. We're going to be sharing some experiences. We're going to be sharing things that will make your life a little bit easier. And by easier, we mean you're going to improve your relationships with the internal clients and ideally make it easier to get your deals done and progress your career in the in-house environment. So let's dive in. Let's consider what is our role as an in-house lawyer. Our internal clients often want us to simply say yes to every piece of paper and every deal that they come up with to achieve their commercial KPIs. If we were in private practice, we have a clearly delineated advisory role, and all we would need to do to achieve our KPIs is to sell enough units of time each year. So the problem is for in-house lawyers is that they have a hybrid, a slightly trickier role between those 2 points. On one hand, we need the business to do as many deals as possible. On the other hand, we have a professional fiduciary duty to keep the business safe while those deals are being done. So it is this paradoxical context that the never mind achieve what success looks like. Are we just a stamp holding yes to sign off on every deal, or are we advisors? Well, the reality is that the in-house role is to enable informed decision-making of the business unit and getting a right balance between doing what we're instructed to do and doing what is right for the business. What this means is that we're here to enable business, but in a safe and efficient way. So now that we understand our role, let's understand who these internal clients are that we should be aligning ourselves with. A little bit different. They have a number of roles, they have a number of responsibilities. There's obviously a huge variety of personality types within our internal clients. And each of those personalities have different requirements. Most important to remember is that our internal client may not be an expert in the things that they are instructing us in. So when we're taking those instructions, we need to take into account those internal clients' seniority and their experience of the subject matter, the project type. What's their experience of working with lawyers in general? What's the experience of managing projects and of delegating and providing instructions? All of these things go into the rich tapestry that makes up an internal client. So we need to consider, are they best placed and are they authorized to be giving us instructions at all? Are they asking for the right things at all? And are there alternative solutions to the things that they've instructed us to achieve? Ultimately, our role is to empower what the internal client is doing by letting them make informed decisions. And be informed. Ultimately, in-house, it is the business unit or the client that's going to get what it wants. So we need to be conscious of making sure that the client wants the right thing and that if there is ever a conflict, that we manage that conflict appropriately. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of this meal, the alignment principle. What we're advocating for at GLS we need to ensure that there's an absolute reconciliation between what the client is expecting to receive. If every internal client owned the company, was infinitely wise and perfectly sensible, being an in-house lawyer would be an incredibly easy job. We'd simply execute exactly what was told to us, and we'd do that as quickly as possible. However, as we all know, business units and our internal clients do not always make perfect decisions, and they are very rarely operating with perfect or comprehensive information. As such, there's often a conflict between those three items that we need to have aligned. When there is a misalignment between those three elements, the typical responses are, I didn't ask for this is not what I need, this is not what I wanted, i.e. we have an irate and upset internal client. So the magic of today is, how do we achieve alignment of those elements? Well, it is a minor miracle, but to achieve that minor miracle, we just need to start by systematically working through 7 questions. It is essential that these 7 questions are undertaken on every instruction, no matter how minor the instruction or how senior an in-house lawyer you are. The point is that when these are done correctly, it is possible to execute service requests and instructions efficiently, and moreover, that we're reserving our time and effort for instructions that are the correct instructions. So let's go through these questions one by one. First question, doesn't matter in hand. Do you understand exactly what is being asked of you and why it's being asked of you? Executed your client's instructions? Have you considered and presented all possible variable solutions to the issue? Are the optimal outcomes identified and agreed with the internal client? In essence, are you aligned with what success looks like on this matter? And have you agreed all of the deliverables will be by the client? The answer is no. You are not ready to start working on the instructions, and you must avoid progressing the matter until you have resolved those questions. To progress the matter without clear answers to each of those questions will inevitably result in wasted resources, in particular, a waste of your time, and possibly more importantly, over the medium to long term, it will waste your valuable reputation within the business, as your internal clients start getting irritated with the work that you produce, no matter how hard you seem to be working. So, some golden rules to apply. Apply the alignment principle. You will have unmet client expectations. From this presentation, that you do not proceed client instructions without applying the alignment principle. Possible your instructions and the outcomes of those instructions. It is always better to underpromise and overdeliver. Wherever possible, you should agree deadlines in advance with your internal clients. You should keep your internal client updated on the progress of the matters so that their expectations are managed and so that they are happy. You should prioritize your workloads, know to escalate the issue and when to ask for help. Learn how and when to say no. Remember that it's often momentum that gets your deals done, and that as an absolute force, it doesn't. So let's manage some expectations. The key message here is that poor prior planning will lead to poor performance. So what does that look like when we're managing the expectations of our internal clients? Well, the key to remember is that managing internal clients is often like managing small children. They're wonderful and beloved, but they will cause chaos very quickly if you let them and you don't take control. So, as the in-house lawyer of your business, you need to get skills. You need to get these right on all matters, as they will display the essential professionalism of your role, and they will structurally set you up for success on your matters. The first hard skill is the alignment principle. The second hard skill is ensuring that you draw out quality instructions from your clients. We'll come to tools later that can help you on this point. Thirdly, you need to be right. This is a subtle, and they need to be able to trust the advice that you're giving them. So umming and ahhing, making mistakes, generally not being prepared to give correct answers, or trying to answer questions that you don't know the answer for will undermine your role within the business and ensure that your internal clients quickly stop relying on your answers. You, as the internal lawyer, managing time on your projects. You need to, if you do not do this, projects will quickly run over time and over budget, and you will inevitably be blamed for it. File management is a core skill for the in-house lawyer. Painful roles as in-house lawyer, but you are ultimately the custodian of knowledge within your business. So it is essential that A, you have all documentation saved, and B, that it is saved in a way that is well indexed, easy to retrieve when needed. It is inevitably come up multiple years later, and you need to be able to rely on a system that you have in place to find, utilize tools wherever possible, and we'll talk about tools in more detail later. And wherever possible, systematically chart the compliance of your matters. I show and record where your matters have progressed according to your business's group legal policy, and if deviations from that group legal policy have been made, why were they made and who authorized those deviations. The soft skills that you can use to help with those hard skills are that you need to be a team player. You need to build rapport with your internal clients and the different members within the legal department. Ideally, you want to have an agnostic personality, meaning not that your personality disappears and you become a blank piece of paper, but rather that you are the person who is going to come in contact with more other people within your business than anybody else. So it is important that you're able to work effectively with a huge variety of personality types. It is not okay that you work well with one department because you appreciate the personalities within that department, but a different department within the business gets abandoned simply because of a conflict of personality. You need to be able to resolve conflicts quickly and effectively. Rule of thumb to remember that dispensing bad medicine early makes it a lot easier to manage. Do not wait till the last minute before you reveal some bad news. As the in-house lawyer, it is your prerogative to say no. That being said, you cannot say no to everything and still expect the business to be happy with your advice. You have a certain number of no's, so use them wisely and make them count. Ideally, you want to avoid surprises wherever possible. It is infinitely easier to manage expectations of an informed, an informed client who is abreast of all issues that are arising, rather than having them surprised when they think that the deal was going well. You should escalate matters sensibly and an appropriate time, and you should maintain momentum on your deals. So that is how to manage an internal client. How do you manage yourself? As Sun Tzu said, if you know the enemy and you know yourself, you need not fear the results of 100 battles. So these are the things that are entirely within your control. You can be 100% confident that these are achieved 100% of the time, simply by you choosing to do these things. So you must be credible, be a proactive deal enabling force within your business. You need to be the one that's proactively trying to make things happen and enabling things to happen, not simply avoiding risk by saying no to everything and thereby bringing your business to an effective grinding halt. You need to be organized. That means you need to be organized on the project management of each matter, organized with the administration and filing of your documentation and your reports from those matters. You need to ensure that you are across what exactly is the group legal policy of your business. You are the custodian of that knowledge. You need to be able to ensure that you've recorded your instructions. You need to record exceptions and variations to the instructions in the group legal policy and why those matters were done. And you need to keep good files. Deal memory. Once a deal is completed, it is incredibly easy for everyone involved to move on at full speed to the next deal and forget what's happened on that deal. So it is critical for you to take a minute to breathe and to keep a clear record of the decisions that were made on that particular deal. Why did the deal team think that it was commercially appropriate to accept an indemnity on this contract when your group legal policy typically requires you to reject all indemnities, etc. So, useful tools for this, for managing your internal clients. Well, all of this sounds quick and easy to achieve, but it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. Nonetheless, there are some incredibly effective tools that an in-house lawyer can use to achieve better alignment with their internal clients. The first of these tools is a legal service request form. This is probably one of the most cost-effective, highest impact tools that an in-house lawyer can introduce to their business to achieve better instructions, maintain their reputation within the business. This is one of those few very genuine cases where the expenditure of a few $100s can instantaneously and dramatically improve the performance and career trajectory of an in-house lawyer. This is such an important tool that the GLS group has in fact written an entire white paper dedicated to this incredibly underrated tool. I cannot emphasize enough how easy it is to implement affect a number of operations within the legal department. Going alongside the legal service request form is the legal briefing protocol. Ideally, this is a protocol that should be signed off on by the board. Exactly how are your internal clients expected to instruct the legal department? If this is a clear, documented process, it makes it much, much easier to receive high quality instructions from your internal clients and to execute them in a way that leaves everybody with the results they want when they want them. Project planners. As mentioned before, a key to managing your clients' expectations and to keep them happy throughout the project is to make sure that they are updated as much as possible on the progress of your matter. I'm sure we've all been part of deals where the deal as a whole completed very quickly, but very quickly was still slower than the client expected, and so they were upset. And we've also been part of deals where the reverse is true. The deal took an incredibly long time to progress, but the client was updated regularly on why the time was passing, what was causing that time to pass. And as a result, by the end of the project, everybody was happy that everybody had put in a professional and planners like those provided by Microsoft 365 are a great way to ensure that communication flow between the legal department and the internal clients is maintained and that all stakeholders on a deal have visibility of the progress of that deal. This is a tool / technique that is incredibly helpful. Using clear written statements as to what exactly has been agreed for the instructions. This need not be a specific form. It can be a short email. It can be a WhatsApp message. Whatever it is, make sure that it is done on every instruction. In essence, summarize what has been asked of you, what are the deliverables that will be provided, and the agreed time frame for the delivery of those deliverables. This is going to be the thing that protects you more often than anything else. Finally, KPIs. Having clear, objective, and achievable KPIs within your legal department, on one hand, sound like you're creating the kind of time reporting scenarios that you're trying to avoid from private practice. But on the other hand, when you're managing your own KPIs, it allows you to clearly demonstrate to your internal stakeholders and your internal clients what exactly it is that you as a legal department have achieved. You can objectively verify that you've added value to the business and that you've achieved something that they've wanted to have happen. So this is something that we go into detail in greater depth in later presentations, but it starts by using legal service request forms and enables you to achieve greater effectively. It enables you to manage the workloads placed on each lawyer within the internal legal team, and it gives you an objective basis to demonstrate to the board and the business that you have achieved greater performance, thereby making it easier to get a bonus at the end of the year. So with all of these tools, these are obviously some things that are incredibly easy to do. Like we're not advocating that you personally produce the next ChatGPT. These are things that can be produced with a few hours of research and work by yourself. Obviously, if you're already pushed for time, so you do not have those spare few hours to produce these tools yourself, or you are in fact unsure of what the best practice version of each of these tools would look like, well, in such situations, you can simply and instantaneously procure them from the GLS Legal Operations Center. So with that, I will thank you on behalf of GLS and say that I hope to see you again soon.